Appreciate you. What Tim didn't tell you is that some of my lowest points in my life, when nobody was coming to check in on me and nobody was looking me up to see where I was at or how I was doing, Tim was one of the only people that was doing that. And so I forever cherish my relationship with you, Tim, and look forward to the years to come. Well, it's good to see everybody. I can't believe it's been 7 years ago since I was at work one day, and Ed Blair called me on the phone and said, "Hey, you want to have lunch? I want to talk about something." And what had happened was, back in the 80s, my dad, who is the director at Care Center Ministries, and a few other ministries in the DFW Metroplex used to get together and have a night of praise and worship. We'd have a meal, and we'd just encourage each other. It was called Fellowship of Residential Ministries. And that was, Tim Chapman was involved in it. People over at Reconciliation were involved in it. This was late 80s, early 90s probably. And, of course, I was a kid, so I was probably running around tearing stuff up at the time. But it was just a great thing. And then back in around probably 2012, 2013, my dad, Tim, and a guy named Mark Swanson, who was the director of Straight Street Ministries, got together and said, "Man, that was good times that we had back then. Let's do it again." So we started up again. And then Mark Sorensen went to be with the Lord. My dad got busy with other stuff, and Tim got busy with other stuff. So we just kind of let it go. And then whenever Ed came and said he wanted to do it, it was just right in line with what God had already been doing. And so it's when I stand here today, this isn't just a today thing. This goes all the way back to me when I was a little kid. So it has a lot of meaning, has a lot of depth to it. And so I'm thankful to be here today. As I mentioned, my dad is he's not the founder, but he was one of the first residents of Care Center Ministries. But he quickly took over the ministry when the other guy left. And so I grew up in Care Center Ministries, which is a residential home for men and women with life-controlling issues. We started in Lower East Dallas and are now in Pleasant Grove, and kind of grew up in a ministry environment. Had the opportunity to watch and see people come from extreme brokenness to a position of power, a position of authority, a position of influence. I've seen people's lives literally transformed right before my eyes as a child. Whenever I called my dad back in 2011 and said, "Hey, I really feel like God is calling me back to partner with you and be a part of the ministry," it was kind of the last thing in the world that I wanted to do. It was so far outside of, number one, I didn't want to work for my dad. Who wants to do that? And then number two, just the hardship of being in ministry. I witnessed it as a child, and I didn't want to do it. But I ended up doing it. Spent 12 years there working with my dad, just loving on people, helped pastor the church and direct the ministry and all the different stuff. Met my wife there. We have 3 beautiful kids that are amazing. We just started homeschool this year, and so y'all pray for us. It's exciting. But about 2 years ago, the Lord just started putting on my wife and I's heart that our time there at Care Center was done, which was hard for me because coming back there was kind of like going back home, and it was a rough time that I went through, because it was the family dynamic, the ministry dynamic. But around that same time, there was a guy who had been in the church at our church, and he just got saved, and he started a roofing company, and he wanted to glorify God with his business. And so I called him and said, "Hey, man, what would it look like if I came on with you?" So kind of where I'm at right now is we're doing a marketplace ministry. I'm the chaplain there at Pro Exteriors. We're a roofing company. And what we basically do is we connect with people in the day-to-day life, much like what Tim does. We connect with people day in and day out. We do a curriculum with our men called Men and Ladies, Men of Honor. They got a ladies curriculum too. But we're walking guys through a discipleship program. Once a month we do a serve project. We'll go out downtown and feed the homeless. We'll, if any of y'all are interested in hosting us as a group once a month, just let me know. While we're here today, we'd love to come serve at your ministry. I've been doing that for about 2 years, building on that. But when I was coming over here today, I was thinking about, just even yesterday and leading up to today, just thinking about, where everyone in this room is and what each and every one of you are doing. I don't know a lot of y'all, but I know that you're here because you're in ministry. And one of the common denominators in ministry, as a matter of fact, you can't do ministry without this one thing, is people. And my dad had a friend when I was a kid that used to say all the time, ministry would be great if it wasn't for all the people. And so when you put yourself in ministry, basically what you're doing is laying yourself on the ground as a floor mat. And you're at the service of the people. That's what ministry is. It's service. The definition of the word in the Bible is to serve. It's to be a servant. When I was growing up, watching my dad lay his life down, other people that would come in and serve and love on people. As a kid, I'm a people person. I always have been. I would immediately connect to people and build these deep, lasting relationships with them. And they'd become my best friends. And then all of a sudden, one day, it's like they're gone. And then as I began to grow older, not only were they gone, but now they're like bashing my dad and bashing the ministry and bashing the people that literally took them in and helped them out. And that was a complication for me growing up, how we could build these valuable, meaningful relationships with these people. We can connect with them at a heart level. We were bringing them into our house, so they were like family. And then overnight, something changed, and now they're gone. Obviously, we were dealing with drug addicts, so there was a lot of addiction and things like that, people relapsing. But as a child, I never understood that. And it actually turned me bitter after a while. It made me have a hard heart towards the ministry, not towards the people, but towards the ministry. And I never really learned how to process that. And as I came back in 2011 and partnered with my dad and began to help serve in the ministry, it was God working on me. It's, everything God was doing in me, everything I did for people was just an extension of that. I began to have the same experiences. Like I'd bring people in, I'd build connections with them. I was pastoring the church. I was helping people with their bills. I was doing just serving people. That's what we do, right? We serve people. We find a need and we meet it. That's what we do. And then people treat you like you're working at McDonald's and didn't get their order right. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, hold on. What's going on here? You know what I mean? I thought there was a level of respect. I thought there was some trust. I thought there was some love shared between us. And over time, I began to wrestle with God about it, because what was happening is, in my own experience, God was showing me the hurt and the pain that I was carrying from my childhood. And so as an adult, I just laid before the Lord and was like, God, help me understand this, because I genuinely love people. I genuinely want to help people. But it seems like the more I help, the more, I get ran over. I get talked bad about. I get, people leave, they disappear. They're there one day and they're gone the next. And the disconnect there, and began to pray and to spend time with the Lord. And the Lord showed me specifically what I want to share with you guys today. Because if you're in ministry, you're dealing with people. If you're dealing with people, you're trying to solve a puzzle that may or may not ever get solved. It's a complication. Whether it's dramatic as somebody leaving and bashing your name or bashing your work or whatever they're doing, or if it's just somebody changing directions and going to a different church, or moving out of the neighborhood, or even to the degree that when I was doing ministry down in Pleasant Grove for 12 years, there were little kids that came up through our kids ministry programs that became teenagers and then died in street violence, died of overdose. There was just all kinds of stuff where the heartache and the pain of carrying the love in your heart for other people. If you are in this room, I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm saying. And so how do we deal with that? How do we navigate the waters of feeling like our heart is being ripped in half because of the love that we have for the people that we're serving? And I want to point your attention to a verse right quick. It's in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "So then, since Christ suffered physical pain, you must arm yourself with the same attitude he had." To arm yourself with the same attitude that he had. The hurt and the pain that's going to come as you serve the people that God has called you to serve. It's going to happen at some time, if it hasn't already. And some of you may be dealing with it right now. But I want to encourage you today to arm yourself. It's a weapon. It's something that you can use to fight off the things that come against you. And the weapon that you have is the same attitude that Christ had. And so you think about it. What was Christ's attitude? His attitude was to serve. He came to seek and to save those that were lost. He came to love those that were not going to love him back. And I heard a pastor say one time that rejection is an intricate part of the gospel, because it says that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever would believe would be saved. And whosoever, what that means is that not everybody's going to. Some people are. And if they're going to reject Jesus, guess what? They're going to reject me too. Jesus promised it. He said, if they hate me, they're going to hate you. If I'm going through this, you're going to have to go through it as well. As a matter of fact, Jesus said that if you don't pick up your cross and deny yourself, you can't be my disciple. And so whenever we're doing ministry and we're opening our hearts to people, we're allowing people to come into our lives and we're serving them, we need to have the same attitude that Jesus had. That this is about, number one, my love towards God, and number two, my love towards the people from God. 1 John, he talks about how it's not that we love God, it's that God loved us. And so whatever love that I'm giving to the people that I'm serving, if I'm not coming from a place that's already been loved by God, then I'm giving them human love, which is fragile and it's not dependable and it's easy to be broken in half. And so if I'm giving them of my own self and not of something that I've already been given from God, then I'm setting myself up for disappointment. And so to have the same attitude as Christ had, I don't think anything else paints the picture better than John 13, where it talks about how Jesus was there with his disciples. Let's look right here. It says, it was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and that he had come from God and would return to God. A couple of things I want to show you right here. Number one, Jesus knew Judas was going to betray him. He didn't allow that to close his heart off. He didn't allow that to turn him bitter. He didn't allow that to cause him to be rigid in his relationship with Judas. As a matter of fact, he recognized it for what it was, looked it dead on, put it in its rightful place, and continued on the path that God had set him on. And so when we're engaging with people, we need to go ahead and have the understanding that, you know what, I might get hurt here emotionally. I might have somebody turn their back on me. I'm not expecting that to happen, but I understand that it probably can. But at the end of the day, it sums up right here that even though Judas is going to hurt him, it says right here, he knows that the Father had given him all authority. So even though I'm going to encounter these trials, even though I'm going to encounter these circumstances, even though I'm going to go through this relational pain through the people that I'm trying to work with or work for or whatever it is, I'm doing it because I know that God has already worked it out. And I already know that God has given me the authority to do so. So I'm not here on my own accord. Once again, this is an extension of something that God has already done to me. I remember whenever I was dealing with some circumstances. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been in church for a while, but I'm pretty sure most of you have. Sometimes people leave church, and I was the pastor of the church. And, sometimes people leave church, and it's okay if people leave church. They do that. They find somewhere else to go. What I didn't like was when they leave church and they take a bunch of people with them. And then the people that do stay wanted to go with them, but just didn't. And then they stayed and kept all this stuff. You get the point, right? I'm struggling with this one day. I'm talking to my wife and we're going through. We're like, man, this is rough. This is a hard deal, right? In prayer one day, the Lord just brought me back to, you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for me. I put you there. They didn't put you there. I put you there. They can't tear you down. They didn't build you up. I put you in that situation. I have given you the authority. And then the Lord began to remind me that everything that he had came from God. So this is a story where Jesus kneels down and washes the disciples' feet. And we're talking about serving people, and Jesus had the attitude of a servant whenever he knelt down and washed people's feet. The reason the Son of God had the capacity to lower himself to a degree of humility that was the lowest servant of that time, number one, he knew where he came from. He didn't have any insecurity, fear, or doubt in himself. He knew who he was and where he came from. And the reason he was able to stoop to that low of a level is because of his security and who he was in the Father. Once again, God sent you. God gave you the authority. God called you to do it. That's what it's all about. But number two is he knew he would return to God. The two greatest things that Jesus teaches us right here is he knew where he came from and he knew where he was going. He had the big picture in mind. And I think as we engage with people on a day-to-day activity, whether we're serving them, I know you guys got the soccer ministry. You're dealing with a lot of youth and a lot of kids. You guys are dealing with broken women. You guys are dealing with the community there. The different things that we do, the kids, the different things that we do this because, number one, God told us to do it. Number two, we know where our authority comes from and we know where we're going. We know that there's no life, regardless of the ups and downs, the pains, the struggles, there's no life that's going to be more fulfilling than the service of God to others. I mean, I was just talking to this guy right here about, he spent time in mortgage and, the corporate world and now have you ever found anything more fulfilling than this? It's the service of God to others. And it's going to come with its ups and downs. It's going to have its heartaches. People are going to misunderstand you. They're going to judge your intentions. At some point in time, there's going to be a disappointment. But I want to encourage you today, and it's just in closing, to remember that God gave you authority to do what you've been called to do, and that you came there because God called you there. And number two, God is leading you somewhere. God is giving you the fullness of his kingdom in this day and this time to bless the world through the work that you're doing. And so if you're in ministry today, just be encouraged and don't be disappointed and don't be let down whenever people don't hold up to the things that you want them to. Amen? All right. Do we still do questions at the end? All right. Does anybody have any questions? Questions, comments, or complaints? I do take complaints. In the spirit of Charlie Kirk, I will talk to you. Anybody at all? Yes, sir.
So when you left the church, right? Was that a decision that you made on your own, or it was something that happened that kind of forced you into that?
It was a collection of things. There was about a 2-year period where I began, not only me, but my wife, my dad, the different people that were in leadership, the elders of the church, the board of directors, just began to sense that the grace had lifted. There were complications that were nothing major. There wasn't anything major going on, but just things that were used to be easy started getting harder. Preaching on Sunday morning. It started becoming, I used to love it. I enjoyed it. Like I lived for it. It's what I was born to do. But then all of a sudden it just started getting hard. I started having conflict with my wife, started having conflict with my dad. And then over little stuff that didn't even really matter. And then what happened was me and my wife took a trip Went on a 10-day trip to California, took a road trip, and we just set that side of time, didn't answer the phone, didn't, just set that side of time and prayed and said, Lord, what's going on here? Why is it that, it seems like the grace is lifted? And the Lord spoke to me clear as a bell and said, your season here has changed. It's time for something else. And so, yeah, that was it. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Amen. Awesome. Yeah. Right. Wow. Wow, that's cool. I love that. And I didn't even know that. So there you go. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. You never know who you know. I'm friends with Dan Alamon, who's the mayor of Mesquite. And one day, just through conversation, it was an accident, I think. I don't remember how it happened, but I got him connected with who's my pastor now, Tony Rory, who leads Men and Ladies of Honor. And now that program, it's a Christ-centered character development program for at-risk youth, is in every school in Mesquite as an after-school program. The coaches are involved, and kids are coming to Christ every week, all because of just, you never know. You never know who you're going to connect or connect the dots. So, yeah. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Some people might say you left ministry, shame on you.
Oh, no.
Tell me how you see God moving outside of the walls of the church
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
What do you see there?
Yeah, that's a whole thing. So a lot of people relegate their walk with Christ to a 2-hour slot on Sunday mornings. I see myself as a spy. I wake up every morning, I'm going covert, undercover operations. Whenever I talk to I'm in the roofing industry. If you know about roofing and construction, we don't have the best reputation. I am right there neck to neck with the biggest knuckleheads you can ever imagine. And I'm a covert spy. I'm there to connect with them, build trust, build relationships. And I can't tell you, they know where I stand. They know who I am, but I don't talk about it much. I stay very quiet about it, but at least once a week, somebody will call me and say, hey, bud, you got a minute? And I'll say, yeah, what's up? Man, me and my wife just got into a fight, and I'm at the bar, and, I just don't know what to do. What do I do here? Or hey, man, my brother's in jail. He just got busted for DUI. These things just happen one after another. And I'm there as a voice that's filled with the Spirit, grounded in the Word, able to give biblical advice on life situations, speaking into marriages, speaking into people's relationships, business activities. As far as the company goes, I try to sit with the owner and make every decision based on what the Bible would say. So when we're thinking about partnering with another company or going in a different direction, we set it aside and we pray on it. Me, him, and a couple other people will pray on it. We'll spend time in prayer, and once we do it, we know that God has called us to do it. And so that's kind of, and then obviously we've got our programmatic stuff that we do. That's more of a labor of love for me. I don't like programs. I like relationships. And so yeah, and you can't quantify it, but it's there. It's there for sure. Yes, sir. Yeah. Did you have?
I did. I think my view as a former businessman, but being in ministry for almost 15 years now, old mission leaders never really go away. They just change where they're at, and they seem to always come back. In other words, the man who co-founded Care Center with your dad spoke here a couple of months ago, and he's now in charter schools.
That's right.
The person that Lonnie just mentioned, the mayor of Mesquite, and Alabama, Tony Roy, founded Men and Women of Honor. Well, gets every 5 years. But, I mean, David stayed with the same ministry for 35 years.
He's been in the
Bless
same
his heart.
spot.
God's never called him to go anywhere else. But I think we need to look sometimes, because it is hard when someone leaves a church or leaves our ministry as a volunteer or as a leadership position, that they're never really gone. They move to another position, and there's still somebody there that you can work with.
Yeah.
And as Journey Soccer just said, I mean, they find out they're working with missions they never thought they would get into the door of, and they work with so many different missions with their soccer program.
Yeah.
Every time I run across them, they're a brand new mission I hadn't seen before. And so, and here comes our Hungry Free Philippines.
There she is. How you doing?
Sorry, guys, sorry.
So I just want to encourage you that, you know, sometimes God does call you. Don't hesitate to be open for it, into another position in your ministry or another ministry to help. But He still wants you as His servant, and that there's nothing wrong to be called somewhere else. We as leaders of our mission need to understand sometimes we lose a key person to another ministry, but it's because God was pleased with the way relationship we had and the way we trained that person. He's going to use that to help another ministry grow.
right.
And He's opening up a door for us to bring another person in to train, to work with, and everything. So
Yeah.
that's just excellent points you made, Lonnie.
Yes, sir.
Just excellent.
I think to build on that is to understand that nature is cyclical, and relationships and ministry can be too. Just like we're coming into fall right now, you're going to start seeing the leaves change in ministry. One thing that I've learned is that there's cycles, and I'm learning it in business too now that I'm in the marketplace. There's cycles. Things sometimes we think they're going in a straight line. We're just going chronologically from this to this to this to this. When in actuality, a lot of times we're more going like this. We're still moving forward, but we're kind of making circles and moving forward because seasons change, cycles change, and as long as we're continuing to move upward and forward. And like for me, one of the things that I struggled with when I stepped down as being the lead pastor there at the church and being involved in the ministry was I felt like I was taking a step backwards. When in actuality, I was just making a cycle and moving into the next season and actually moving forward. I mean, if every tree that's growing has to be pruned. And sometimes it's a pruning, sometimes it's just different things that happen throughout the cycle. And so I think that's a very important thing. I know that whenever we first started this, kind of me and Ed and Tim were talking, about encouraging people and strengthening people and helping people, navigate the waters. If anybody can leave from here today, just be encouraged and know that God is on your side, and God is blessing what you're doing. And I want to say thank you for continuing. We have more missions in Dallas today than we did back when I was a kid. And it's a bigger thing now to go out and to serve the community. And so I'm grateful for that. Any other questions? We'll get you the recording. That'll be great. I was wondering where you're at. I was like, I was hoping to see her.
Well, I couldn't get away.
That's okay. That's part of it. Awesome. Anything else? That's it. Thank you, guys.